In a world not too different from our own, there existed a hero whose name was whispered through the corridors of time as a savior of the ages. His name was Aiden, and he was no ordinary hero. Aiden hailed from a future where the fabric of time itself was the most precious treasure of all, and he was its steadfast guardian. Aiden's unique ability set him apart from ordinary mortals. He possessed the power to traverse the ages, to step seamlessly from one era to another. This remarkable gift had been bestowed upon him by the enigmatic temporal elders, a council of wise beings who watched over the continuum of history. The world in which Aiden lived bore some resemblance to our own, but it was infused with an undeniable reverence for the past. In this world, the past was not just a collection of dusty pages and forgotten books. It was the very foundation upon which the present and future stood. Each historical event, every significant person, and even the tiniest ripple in the river of time held immense value. This world, with its majestic temporal archive, stood as a testament to the importance of preserving history. The archive was an awe-inspiring repository where the scrolls of countless civilizations lined the walls, and holographic exhibits brought ancient wonders to life. Scholars, historians, and guardians like Aiden diligently maintained this vast treasure trove of human heritage. But there were those who coveted the power of time for their own gain. In the shadows of history, malicious forces lurked, the time marauders, who sought to plunder the past, and the time distorters, who aimed to rewrite it to suit their desires. These nefarious factions posed a grave threat to the timeline, and that's where Aiden's role as a guardian of history came into play. Aiden's initial mission was clear: to protect the past from those who would tamper with its delicate threads. He was tasked with patrolling the corridors of time, ensuring that the great deeds and lessons of history remained untarnished. He watched over the likes of Cleopatra in ancient Egypt, stood beside Leonardo da Vinci as he painted the Mona Lisa, and even witnessed the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Aiden's duty went beyond mere observation. It was a sacred vow to prevent any malevolent interference. Armed with a temporal sword, forged from the remnants of long-dead stars, he was prepared to cut through the very essence of temporal manipulations. His resolve was unshakable, for he understood the dire consequences that would befall the world if history fell into the wrong hands. In this world, where the past and future intertwined, Aiden stood as the steadfast guardian of time itself, a hero whose existence was a living testament to the importance of preserving history. For without the past, the present and future would crumble into oblivion. The temporal citadel, a sprawling edifice of gleaming silver, stood on the precipice of eternity. Its towers pierced the sky, each one adorned with ornate clocks that ticked in unison, measuring the heartbeat of time itself. Aiden, the guardian of history, found himself standing before the imposing doors of the citadel, his heart echoing with a mix of reverence and determination. With a resolute breath, Aiden pushed the towering doors open, and they creaked on their hinges, granting him entry into the inner sanctum of the Time Council. The chamber was a mesmerizing blend of ancient wisdom and futuristic technology. Holographic projections displayed the timelines of history, and chronicles of ages past lined the walls. At the head of the council, seated upon a magnificent throne of temporal energy, was High Elder Arion. His presence radiated a profound aura of agelessness, a testament to his many centuries of guarding the secrets of time. Guardian Aiden, Arion intoned, his voice like the distant rumble of thunder, "You have answered the call of history. The sands of time shift perilously, and the very essence of the past stands threatened." Aiden knelt before the council, his eyes locked onto High Elder Arion. "I am ready, High Elder, to fulfill my sacred duty as a guardian of history." Arion nodded, his eyes glowing with ancient knowledge. "The disturbance we have detected emanates from the 17th century, the Age of Enlightenment. There, a nefarious cabal known as the Chrono Conclave has woven a web of temporal deceit, altering the thoughts and deeds of great thinkers." Aiden furrowed his brow, sensing the gravity of the situation. "I shall journey to the 17th century and put an end to the Chrono Conclave's treachery." But Arion leaned in closer, his voice a whispered secret. "There is more, Aiden. A shadowy figure known as the Void Weaver looms in the periphery. It seeks to unravel the very threads of existence, to destroy the temporal nexus, the keystone of time itself." Aiden's eyes widened at the revelation. The temporal nexus was said to be the epicenter of all timelines, the linchpin holding past, present, and future together. Guardian Aiden, Arion continued, Your mission is twofold. Halt the Chrono Conclave's corruption in the Age of Enlightenment and uncover the Void Weaver's plot before it plunges the world into eternal chaos. Aiden's commitment to his mission deepened as he accepted the weight of this new revelation. I shall not falter, High Elder. The fate of time itself rests with me. Arion extended his hand, and a holographic projection of the 17th century materialized, its brilliance blinding. Then go, Guardian Aiden. May the chronicles of history guide your steps, and may the light of the temporal nexus illuminate your path. With a final nod of determination, Aiden stepped into the shimmering portal, ready to face the mysteries and perils of the past, prepared to protect history and confront the enigmatic threat of the Void Weaver. Aiden stood at the threshold of time, the hum of his time-traveling suit echoing in the chamber. With a determined glance back at the temporal citadel, he activated the intricate mechanisms of his suit. It whirred to life, generating a vortex of swirling energy that enveloped him. In an instant, Aiden was transported through the corridors of time, hurtling back to the 17th century, a time of great intellectual enlightenment and cultural transformation. As he emerged from the temporal vortex, he found himself amidst the grandeur of the Age of Enlightenment. The city before him was a marvel of architectural splendor, with grand palaces and bustling marketplaces. Scholars and philosophers roamed the cobbled streets, engaged in fervent discussions of reason and liberty. Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire, Descartes, and Newton occupied nearby cafes, their ideas shaping the course of history. But beneath this facade of enlightenment, Aiden sensed the ominous presence of the Chrono Conclave, their malevolence lurking in the shadows. They operated in the shadows, manipulating the thoughts and actions of these great minds to suit their dark purposes. Aiden's first encounter with the Chrono Conclave came at the grand salon of a renowned philosopher. The atmosphere was charged with intellectual energy, but the philosopher, a puppet of the Conclave, was spreading dangerous ideas that could threaten the course of history. Aiden watched as the philosopher addressed the gathering, distorting the ideals of reason and liberty into a twisted ideology of oppression. With a deep breath, Aiden approached the philosopher and engaged him in a philosophical debate that exposed the Conclave's deceitful influence. As the confrontation escalated, Aiden revealed his temporal sword, a shimmering beacon of his authority. The Chrono Conclave members present recoiled in fear, realizing that their plans were in jeopardy. A fierce battle ensued, with Aiden's knowledge of future technology and his unwavering resolve pitted against the Conclave's temporal manipulations. Throughout his journey in the 17th century, Aiden encountered more historical figures ensnared by the Conclave's schemes. Each encounter challenged his intellect, resolve, and combat skills. He battled alongside thinkers like John Locke and Voltaire, allies who had been unwittingly drawn into the Conclave's web of deceit. Aiden's mission to protect history demanded not only physical prowess, but also a profound understanding of the delicate balance between free thought and manipulation. The Chrono Conclave schemes ran deep, entwined with the very foundations of the Age of Enlightenment. And Aiden was determined to stand as a bulwark against their temporal machinations, preserving the integrity of the past for the sake of the present and the future.
As Aiden continued his mission to thwart the Chrono Conclave's nefarious plans in the 17th century, the pieces of their dark puzzle began to fall into place. He meticulously gathered clues, interrogating Conclave members he defeated and analyzing their stolen temporal artifacts. The motifs of the Chrono Conclave slowly emerged from the shadows. They sought to plunge the world into chaos, to rewrite history in their image, and to create a dystopian future where they held ultimate power. They believed that by manipulating the Enlightenment era, they could alter the course of human progress, ensuring their dominance for centuries to come. Aiden's pursuit of the Conclave's motives led him to uncover a sinister plot involving the dissemination of a corrupted treatise, one that distorted the ideals of reason and liberty championed by Enlightenment thinkers. This treatise, if widely adopted, would have catastrophic consequences for the future. But Aiden was not alone in this perilous journey. His encounters with historical figures affected by the Conclave's manipulation had forged unexpected alliances. Figures like John Locke, Voltaire, and René Descartes, initially pawns in the Conclave's game, had become staunch allies in Aiden's mission to safeguard history. Together, they formed a clandestine group known as the Temporal Resistance. This diverse assembly of thinkers and warriors united their intellectual prowess and combat skills to counter the Conclave's influence. They devised ingenious strategies to expose and undermine the Conclave's agents, revealing their nefarious schemes to the world. As the Temporal Resistance grew stronger, Aiden's presence in the 17th century began to have a profound impact on the timeline. The Age of Enlightenment, once on the brink of distortion, started to regain its true essence. Enlightenment ideals of reason, liberty, and progress flourished, affecting not only the 17th century, but rippling through time, influencing future eras. Aiden's interactions with Enlightenment thinkers and his unwavering dedication to preserving history sparked a resurgence of intellectual enlightenment and the pursuit of knowledge throughout the ages. His mission went beyond the immediate threat of the Chrono Conclave. It became a beacon of hope for the preservation of humanity's greatest achievements. However, the Conclave, aware of the Resistance's growing strength, intensified their efforts to thwart Aiden and his allies. The battle between guardians of history and manipulators of time would escalate, and the fate of the past, present, and future hung in the balance. In this pivotal chapter, Aiden's relentless pursuit of the Conclave's motives, his bonds with historical figures, and the subtle changes to the timeline set the stage for an epic showdown between the forces of preservation and those of temporal manipulation. As Aiden and the Temporal Resistance continued their relentless battle against the Chrono Conclave in the 17th century, Aiden's investigation into the Void Weaver's activities took on an urgent tone. The cryptic entity had remained elusive, its presence felt only through the ripples it left in the fabric of time. Aiden, armed with knowledge from the Time Council and the resources of the Resistance, began to piece together a trail of temporal disturbances. These anomalies manifested as eerie distortions in the timeline, moments of history that seemed to be unraveling at an alarming rate. Following these clues, Aiden's quest led him to a hidden chamber beneath an ancient library, a chamber cloaked in temporal energy. There, surrounded by arcane symbols and shimmering veils of chronal magic, he confronted the Void Weaver. The Void Weaver was a being shrouded in darkness, its form ever shifting, as if it were a living embodiment of the chaos it sought to unleash upon time itself. Its voice echoed through the chamber, a discordant melody that sent shivers down Aiden's spine. "Aiden, guardian of history," the Void Weaver hissed. "I have observed your efforts to thwart the Chrono Conclave, but you underestimate the true extent of my power." Aiden, undeterred, readied his temporal sword. "Your reign of chaos ends now, Void Weaver. What is your motive? Why threaten the temporal nexus?" The Void Weaver chuckled ominously. "The temporal nexus is the heart of time, and I seek to tear it asunder. I desire not only to reshape history, but to obliterate it, to plunge the world into a maelstrom of temporal turbulence." With a sinister gesture, the Void Weaver unleashed a wave of temporal energy, distorting the very reality around them. Aiden, his time-traveling suit protecting him from the chaos, engaged in a high-stakes showdown with this enigmatic entity. Their battle unfolded across the fringes of time, a cataclysmic clash between Aiden's resolve to protect history and the Void Weaver's malevolent desire to obliterate it. Time itself seemed to bend and fracture in their wake, creating a surreal battleground where past, present, and future converged. Amidst the chaos, Aiden glimpsed the Void Weaver's true objective. The entity sought not just to alter history, but to obliterate the temporal nexus, the keystone that held time together. Its motives were rooted in a malevolent yearning for eternal chaos, where time would be a never-ending abyss of darkness. As the battle raged on, Aiden drew upon his unyielding determination and the knowledge of his allies from the Temporal Resistance. With a final, decisive strike, he pierced the heart of the Void Weaver, dispersing its dark essence into the very fabric of time. The temporal nexus, on the brink of annihilation, was saved, and the timeline began to stabilize. But the threat of the Void Weaver's return lingered, an ominous shadow that would haunt Aiden's journey through time. In this chapter, Aiden's confrontation with the Void Weaver unveiled the entity's motives and the true extent of its threat to the temporal nexus. Aiden's victory was hard-won, but the battle against the forces of temporal chaos was far from over, as the Guardian of History prepared to face new challenges and protect the integrity of time itself. After the climactic showdown with the Void Weaver, Aiden returned to the Time Council, his time-traveling suit humming softly as he stood before High Elder Arian and the council members. The knowledge he had gained about the Void Weaver's motives and the grave threat it posed weighed heavily on his mind. High Elder Arian, with a sense of urgency etched into his ageless features, addressed Aiden. "Guardian Aiden, your victory against the Void Weaver is commendable, but we have uncovered a deeper plot. The Void Weaver is merely a harbinger of a more profound danger." Aiden's brow furrowed. "What greater peril could there be, High Elder?" Arian explained. "The Void Weaver was but a pawn, a distraction from a greater conspiracy to destabilize the temporal nexus itself. The true architects behind this malevolent plot remain hidden, their motives shrouded in the shadows of time." Aiden absorbed the gravity of the situation. "What is my next mission, High Elder?" Arian continued. "You must assemble a team of allies from different time periods, individuals who share our commitment to preserving the integrity of time. Together, you will guard the temporal nexus and thwart the conspirators who seek to unravel the very fabric of existence." Aiden nodded resolutely. "I shall heed your directive, High Elder. The temporal nexus must be protected at all costs." Arian gestured to a holographic display, revealing profiles of potential allies scattered throughout history. A brilliant scientist from the Renaissance, a fearless knight from the Middle Ages, a brilliant mathematician from ancient Greece, and an intrepid explorer from the Age of Discovery were among those who had shown a deep understanding of the consequences of tampering with time. Aiden began his quest to gather this diverse team, each ally possessing unique skills and knowledge from their respective eras. It was a challenging endeavor, as convincing individuals from different time periods to unite against a common threat required both diplomacy and persuasion. The brilliant scientist, for instance, was skeptical at first, but Aiden's recounting of the Void Weaver's malevolent designs and the fragility of time convinced him to join the cause. The fearless knight, initially bound by his medieval chivalry, recognized the greater duty of defending the temporal nexus. Together, they formed a team that transcended the boundaries of time, united by their shared commitment to protecting the temporal nexus. As the group assembled in the temporal citadel, they brought with them not only their unique skills, but also the collective wisdom of their respective eras. With his newfound allies at his side, Aiden's mission was clear: to stand as the guardians of time, defending the temporal nexus from the hidden conspirators who threatened to unravel the very essence of existence. The fate of all history rested upon their shoulders as they embarked on a journey that transcended the boundaries of time itself. With a team of allies assembled from different time periods, Aiden stood before the precipice of an epic battle. Their mission was clear: to protect the temporal nexus and thwart the hidden conspirators behind the Void Weaver's plot. The destiny of history hung in the balance as they prepared to face the Void Weaver's forces. The battlefield was a surreal amalgamation of temporal distortions, a battleground that transcended time and space. The Void Weaver's forces, composed of temporal anomalies and creatures twisted by chaos, emerged from rifts in the fabric of time. Aiden's allies, clad in attire from their respective eras, brandished weapons from ancient swords to futuristic energy blasters. The clash that followed was nothing short of epic, a breathtaking spectacle that reverberated through time itself. Aiden, with his temporal sword glowing with the power to cut through temporal distortions, led the charge. His allies, each wielding their unique strengths and knowledge, fought alongside him with unwavering determination. The brilliant scientist employed his Renaissance-era inventions, devising ingenious strategies to counter the chaotic forces. The fearless knight, with his unyielding valor, charged into the heart of battle, a symbol of chivalry and honor. The brilliant mathematician calculated precise maneuvers, outsmarting the Void Weaver's temporal manipulations. while the intrepid explorer navigated the shifting battleground with unerring instincts. The Void Weaver, a shadowy entity of malevolence, commanded its forces from the heart of the chaos. It unleashed temporal waves, seeking to unravel the very threads of existence. Aiden and his team, locked in a desperate struggle, pushed themselves to the limits of their abilities. As the battle raged on, the consequences of their actions reverberated through time. The past, present, and future were inextricably linked, and each blow struck and each victory achieved had a profound impact. Historical events teetered on the edge of distortion, with timelines shifting and rewriting themselves. In the midst of the chaos, Aiden glimpsed a vision of the future, one where the Void Weaver's forces prevailed and the temporal nexus crumbled into oblivion. It was a stark reminder of the stakes at hand, a future where history would be nothing more than fragmented memories. With renewed determination, Aiden and his allies redoubled their efforts. They orchestrated a coordinated assault, targeting the temporal rifts that connected the Void Weaver to its forces. The shadowy entity shrieked in agony as its hold on the chaos weakened. In a climactic showdown, Aiden confronted the Void Weaver once more, their final battle a symphony of temporal energies colliding. With a mighty strike of his temporal sword, Aiden shattered the Void Weaver's grasp on time, dispersing the entity's dark essence into the abyss. The battle had taken its toll, but the temporal nexus remained intact. The timelines, though scarred by the conflict, began to stabilize. The consequences of their battle rippled through history, rewriting the events that had been distorted by the Void Weaver's forces. As the dust settled and the temporal rifts closed, Aiden and his allies stood victorious. The past, present, and future were preserved, and the temporal nexus remained secure. The hidden conspirators, their plans foiled, retreated into the shadows of time, but the battle against the forces of temporal chaos continued. In the wake of their epic clash, Aiden and his team understood the profound responsibility they bore as guardians of history. They would remain vigilant, ready to defend the integrity of time whenever the need arose, for the fate of all history rested in their hands. And so, the threads of time continued to weave their intricate tapestry, a testament to the resilience of those who stood as protectors of the temporal nexus, ensuring that the past, present, and future remained undisturbed for generations to come. The battle for the temporal nexus had been hard won. Aiden and his team emerged victorious, but victory came at a cost. As they stood amidst the remnants of temporal chaos, their faces bore the marks of exhaustion and sacrifice. The brilliant scientist, who had devised ingenious strategies, lay injured, his inventions scattered around him. The fearless knight, a symbol of unwavering valor, had faced a harrowing ordeal, but emerged with honor intact. The brilliant mathematician and the intrepid explorer, who had navigated the shifting battlefield with precision and intuition, bore the scars of their journey. Aiden himself had not escaped unscathed. His time-traveling suit, once pristine, bore the marks of temporal battles, and his resolve had been tested to its limits. The toll of the battle weighed heavily on his shoulders, for the responsibility of guarding history was a burden he carried with unwavering determination. As they regrouped amidst the ruins of temporal distortion, Aiden couldn't help but reflect on the consequences of their actions in the past. The ripple effects of their battle had begun to manifest, rewriting historical events. Some changes were subtle, a painting that had been altered, a scientific discovery that had taken a different course. Others were more profound, affecting the destinies of nations and the course of human progress. Aiden understood that the delicate balance of time meant that even their noblest actions could have unintended consequences. The act of preserving history was not without its complexities, but he knew that the alternative, a world plunged into chaos and darkness, was far worse. With the battle behind them and the timeline beginning to stabilize, Aiden's team returned to their respective eras, bearing the scars of their shared ordeal. Each had become a guardian of time in their own right, committed to defending history. In the future, Aiden returned to the Temporal Citadel, where High Elder Arian and the Time Council awaited. They recognized the sacrifices made by Aiden and his team, understanding the gravity of their mission. High Elder Arian addressed Aiden with a somber nod. Guardian Aiden, your actions have preserved the temporal nexus and secured the integrity of time. The price of victory was steep, but it was a price worth paying. Aiden acknowledged the weight of their mission. Preserving history is a duty we bear for the sake of humanity. The consequences of tampering with time are too great. The Time Council, with a profound understanding of the importance of their mission, provided Aiden with new directives: to remain vigilant, to protect the past, and to stand as a guardian of time against any threat that might arise. As Aiden prepared to embark on new journeys through time, he couldn't help but reflect on the lessons learned and the sacrifices made. The story of his epic battles, alliances forged, and the enduring mission to preserve history would echo through the annals of time, a testament to the unwavering commitment of those who stood as guardians of the temporal nexus. In the end, the story concluded with a poignant reminder of the importance of preserving history, a duty that transcended eras and bound past, present, and future together. Aiden's ongoing mission would forever serve as a beacon of hope, a reminder that the threads of time were delicate and must be safeguarded for the generations yet to come.